Hans van Meegeren, the Dutch forger who fooled the Nazis. Hans van Meegeren, a Dutch painter and master forger, is a figure whose name often appears in the shadowy corners of art history. Known for his skill in forging the works of Dutch old masters, especially Johannes Vermeer, Van Meegeren's story is as dramatic as it is unusual. His life's work, while centered on deception, ended up creating a twisted narrative that could almost be described as an act of defiance against the Nazi regime. This narrative is sponsored by Polly Speaks For You. The creator of Polly Speaks For You has always been passionate about empowering individuals, especially those with disabilities or learning challenges, through text-to-speech and voice recognition technology. Polly Speaks For You isn't just a tool. It's a bridge for people to communicate and interact with the world in a meaningful way. By blending historical storytelling with cutting-edge tech, the creator showcases how powerful a voice can be, whether telling your own story or preserving history. So hit that like, share, and subscribe button and help this channel grow. Now back to the story. Born in 1889, Van Meegeren initially struggled to gain recognition for his own artistic works. With a lack of success and unable to make a name for himself in the competitive art world, Van Meegeren turned to forgery, a choice that would later become both his curse and his means of revenge. His skill at imitating the techniques of renowned artists, most notably Vermeer, eventually allowed him to create masterpieces that were so convincing that even experts were fooled. The master of deception. Van Meegeren's forgeries were so meticulous that they were almost indistinguishable from the real works of the Dutch Golden Age. He used traditional methods such as aging the canvases and using period-specific pigments to create paintings that looked centuries old. His most famous creation, The Supper at Emmaus, was sold to Hermann Göring, one of the highest-ranking Nazi officials, in a deal that would later become a part of history's strangest tales. The sale of this forgery wasn't just a financial windfall for Van Meegeren. It was a calculated strike. At the time, Nazi officials were looting Europe's art treasures, and Van Meegeren's ability to fool them was nothing short of a quiet form of resistance. By passing off a forged Vermeer as genuine, he managed to get it into the hands of Göring, who was a passionate art collector and a key figure in the Nazis' art plunder. A defiant act against the Nazis. Some may view Van Meegeren's actions as mere greed or an opportunistic crime. However, in the broader context of World War II, there's a certain rebellious element to his forgeries. Van Meegeren's decision to sell forged masterpieces to Nazi officials was, in a strange and ironic way, an act of defiance. The Nazis sought to appropriate Europe's artistic heritage for their own purposes, and by creating these forgeries, Van Meegeren effectively played a part in sabotaging their efforts. In fact, Van Meegeren's forgeries were so convincing that even some of the greatest art experts of the time couldn't spot the fakes. His ability to deceive these top-tier officials, including Göring, who was notorious for his obsession with art, might be seen as a small victory over the Nazi regime. A victory achieved not through violence, but through intellectual cunning and artistic skill. The fall, arrest, and revelation. Van Meegeren's world came crashing down in 1945 when he was arrested on charges of collaborating with the Nazis. The end of the war saw the liberation of the Netherlands and the collapse of the Nazi regime, and Van Meegeren's forgeries were discovered in the aftermath. It was at this point that his story took an unexpected turn. In a bizarre twist, Van Meegeren revealed to the authorities that his collaboration with the Nazis was actually a farce. He had never aligned with their ideology. Instead, he had been scamming them, selling forged Dutch masterpieces for exorbitant sums. During his trial, Van Meegeren's remarkable forgery skills were laid bare, and the public was shocked to learn how he had managed to fool some of the most experienced art experts of the time. He had used a combination of ancient techniques, including the use of period-specific paints and varnishes, as well as the creation of forged signatures, to craft his masterpieces. His deception had been so successful that he managed to sell these works to high-ranking Nazis, all the while avoiding suspicion. A complicated legacy. While Van Meegeren was convicted of forgery, the revelation of his true intentions led to some mixed reactions. In a sense, he became an unlikely hero, a man who had used his skills to deceive the Nazis rather than aid them. His forgeries had, in a way, become a form of quiet resistance, a testament to his ability to undermine the oppressive forces of the time. In the end, Van Meegeren's story raises complex questions about morality, art, and resistance during times of war. Was he a criminal? Certainly, but he was also a man who used his talents to fight back in the only way he knew how. His forgeries didn't just fool the Nazis, they mocked them. And in a world where the truth was often twisted beyond recognition, Van Meegeren's deception became a small, yet significant act of defiance. Conclusion: a twist of irony. Today, Han van Meegeren's name lives on as one of the most infamous art forgers in history. His forgeries, though deceptive, remain a testament to the artist's technical prowess and his ability to outwit those who sought to steal and control Europe's cultural heritage. In a world dominated by war and propaganda, Van Meegeren's forgeries were a form of resistance, one that no one saw coming. While he may not have been awarded a medal for his efforts, perhaps history will remember Van Meegeren not just as a forger, but as a man who, through art, managed to deliver a quiet blow to the heart of Nazi ambition. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. To learn more about South Africa's leading accessibility software, visit www.polispeaks4u.co.za and support this meaningful dyslexic initiative. Thank you for watching.